for those of you, if it's your first time interacting with me, I'm excited to be, just giving you some ideas of what you can do for your agency. I myself, I'm an agency owner, and a few years ago, I came on board with High Level and partnered up with Robin with his agency, and then, rest is history. Part of the High Level family and leadership. And what I can share with you is, the agency launch is not easy. There's nothing easy about it. It's pretty complex and complicated, especially if you don't have direction and concept of idea of where to go when it comes to prospecting and sales. That's typically the number one thing that's going to get in your way. Now, we've had this whole SaaS thing planned out for the last couple of months, right? And we're at a point now where that day is finally here, right? Where this is your birthday. Like, this is your birthday of launching a software division in your companies, in your agencies, where you don't have to deal with the standard marketing professional services churn, right? The nonstop fulfillment, the nonstop having to deal with clients. And I wanted to share with you a couple of ideas here and also do a Q&A, okay? I'm getting distracted with the amount of people that are coming in. So I'm just gonna make sure the lobby is open. Okay, cool, perfect. So, how many of you guys watched Sean's Loom video and you got just so excited, right? It's like, I had chills going down my spine because I remember when I started off in the agency world, I believe it was 2014. I wish something like SaaS mode existed. I wish it was easy for me to just click a few buttons, launch one more side to my business, and not have to deal with fulfillment, right? And why is the SaaS mode thing so revolutionary? And one thing I want you guys to understand, it's really beyond just High Level, right? We're the first ever platform to come out and say, you know what? We're going to work hand in hand with agencies. We think they're the right players in this industry, this business model, and we're going to give them the ammo to go to the market against anybody, right? So why is this so revolutionary? It's revolutionary because guess what? In the software world, you don't lose clients that often, right? That's number one thing. How many of you guys have kept your first client? Almost nobody. Why is that? Because in the agency world, most clients will leave you on average in about 3 to 4 months, no matter how great of service you provide, right? So that's the bad thing about the agency services. Now, imagine a world where you don't even have to do fulfillment, right? How is that even possible? So let me help you understand, if it's very new for you guys, what the different business models are, and then I can go into how to launch it, okay? So this is the standard SaaS versus agency, right? SaaS means software as a service, which means you're gonna provide a tool, a platform, a solution that serves itself, right? So ideally, they are subscription models, right? Compared to the marketing agency, it's a retainer model, right? And the second part about software company that's different than a marketing agency is average churn on a software company is not that high, right? Once a client comes in or a prospect comes in, they stick it out. They typically stay with you for a year or even longer, on average, sometimes even 3-4 years, right? Now, let's also talk about marketing services and the agency churn. Like I said, most people lose their clients in the first 3-4 months, and that's because of so many variables, right? When a small business looks at cutting cost, the first victim, the first person on that chopping block is typically marketing, right? Because they don't see it as an investment quite often. They're not educated enough to think like that. They think of it as an expense quite often. So what happens is this churn rate for marketing agencies have been ruining marketing agencies for a long time, right? This is the main reason why all of our coaches and gurus and experts out there and consultants all teach you how to prospect in so many different ways, right? Here's how you write your scripts. Here's how you run paid ads. Here's how you do pay-per-lead model. Here's how you do retainer model. It's a new variation that's going to work for that time period, and it's just non-stop new tactics, right? That's because as a marketing agency, because your churn rate is so high, you are forced to continuously hunt for new clients. In the software world, you don't have to do that. Once they come in, they adopt, the rest is history, right? You can start making what I call mailbox money if you play your cards right. Now, entering the software world is difficult because ideally what you would have had to do was put together your own development team, get your own funding properly set up for like a year or more, and then launch a product, then, go into beta, figure out how you want to manage it, right? So entering the software industry historically has been very difficult. But guess what? We're at high level. We got SaaS mode. That is absolutely live. What that means is you can just upgrade, you can set up your feature stack, you can create your plans, and off you go. You don't have to go spend $250,000 on putting together a development team just to launch, right? You don't have to deal with, developers to figure out what's the next set of features you got to put together, and then manage it, then run it a beta, right? And then put together marketing around it. All that is just completely wiped out, right? Now, cost of acquisition, I'll tell you, in a software company is typically much higher versus cost of acquisition for an agency is moderate, right? And that's because marketing agencies are good at crafting up their messages, right? They understand that they're not just selling features, right? And I'll go a little bit more deeper into that. Let's see. I see a few of these messages coming in. Okay, awesome. Cool. Now, delivery model. Now, here's a part that I want you guys to really pay attention to. Software companies, we're running a product-based business. We're not running a service, right? We're running a product-based business. We have some services around it to complement the products, but ultimately at the core of the business, it's a product-based business. Now, with marketing agencies, it's a service-based business, meaning you or someone else is selling time, right? Either you hire people that are willing to sell their time, or you as the entrepreneur, you're selling time, right? I'm going to mute a few people here just so I don't get any distractions. Okay, awesome. Thanks, guys. Right? So let's go through what we want you guys to do at high level. And I want you to understand, this whole marketing spectrum is really big, right? It's a fairly big industry. For those of you that are already here at high level, you guys are what I call first to market, right? You are in the first to market stages of being able to launch this thing, right? And how can you actually launch this thing? Here's what you got to pay attention to. You going by yourself and presenting yourself as a software company is not going to work, right? You going by yourself and presenting yourself as a marketing company also doesn't work because it's got its own pros and cons. Now, if you combine that together, take your marketing skills, right? Develop your own SaaS offer and create a SaaS hybrid model. You have the ability and freedom to offer subscriptions and also offer retainers while not having to depend on retainers, right? If you had 2 clients or 3 clients and 2 of them cancels and you're, charging $1,500 a month, I mean, that's $3,000 out of the window just like that, just because 2 people canceled, right? So it hurts you as a small startup quite a bit when a high retainer client cancels, right? So we really think the SaaS subscription model is going to allow you to have a more healthier book of business. Now, it's really important that you guys as SaaS agencies do not compare yourself to how a true SaaS runs, right? You're not competing with a software company, right? You have marketing services to offer. You have skill set like Facebook ads. You have skill sets like SEO. You have, social media management skills, consulting skills. Some of you are coaches. Some of you have education skills, and all these things that you can offer your client that a standard software company cannot. Right now, even though you have versatility there, your churn will go down drastically if you start offering SaaS, because once people jump into your SaaS offer based on what you know about that industry, they will stick it out with you, and you should be able to see much less churn compared to your marketing services, right? You should be able to see somewhere around 12 to 18%. Now, port of entry, meaning the easiness of how to enter the SaaS hybrid model, it's going to be average. Because if you're starting out brand new and you don't know anything about this industry, here's what I recommend. Either you need to learn about the industry and understand what kind of operational strain they have and see where you can complement them. Or you need to understand what kind of marketing do they really need and use, and then build your offer against that. Okay? So because you having to have that knowledge about that industry, I consider that port of entry to be a bit moderate. Now, delivery model obviously is going to be both product and service, right? It's not going to be just one, right? You're not one-sided. Eventually, you can go product only as you kind of develop your offers and things like that. The idea in the long run would be able to get into a world where you have no service. You'll be able to just completely capture complete 100% revenue off a product-based system, right? And that's the world you want to get into. But at the same time, guess what? Your clients would still have to have a marketing person on file, right? They still have to check off that list of Facebook ads. They would still have to check off that list of, hey, I got my website up, right? So they still have a marketing person need, for example, right? Any questions before I go further? Guys, just so you know, I don't see these as essentially formal trainings. I prefer you guys interacting with me and, taking part with me, so it's easier for me to think through and share as much as I can. Before I go into the pricing model, does everybody understand this new business model we're talking about? Anybody want to unmute themselves and ask any questions on this? Let me just make sure everybody could unmute themselves. Let's see. Yeah. Okay, cool. Awesome. Anybody have any questions? Do you understand this business model? The difference between just a standalone software, like high level, right? That's not what we want you to do because it's very difficult, right? Versus the standard Facebook ads guy or SEO guy or Google ads guy, right? That doesn't have longevity either. That happy medium of that SaaS hybrid is where the long-term play is. Anybody have any questions on this before I move into the next subsection, if that's right? Marco says, I understood it completely, 100% clear. Let's see, would you lead with SaaS or service? Good question, Pamela. I'm gonna go through that right away in just one more slide. Carlos says, thanks, bud. Can you send me the PPT after? For sure, yeah. We'll post all this on, am I recording? Okay, yeah, I'm recording. Perfect.
I guess when it comes down to answer her, we'll lead with what the customer needs and how we can solve this, and we'll figure this out where the hybrid mode comes in. Is that correct?
Yeah. So there's two sides to how you define leading with it, right? So if we're talking about marketing messages and prospecting, I'll share on that, and then also your offer, how you lead with your offer. So there's two sectors to it. I'll cover both. But yeah, anything else? Any questions? Anybody unclear on what we talked about so far? Do you understand that you're not canceling your marketing services as an agency? You understand that we still need those marketing services, right? And you understand that you're not launching and imitating a software company, because you're not going to be able to function like a software company. You're just going to be agile and provide some core tools that make sense for the business. Okay, give me a 1 if I can move to my next point. Let's see. Okay. Awesome. Okay, a lot of ones. Okay, will you have another language support? Let's see. That's an irrelevant question for now. Okay, cool. All right. So SaaS hybrid, everybody's on the same page with me. So let's go to what Pamela talked about. How do we lead into this? Okay. So this is my favorite SaaS pricing model so far. I've been beating this down into the hammer, right? Like I've shared this with almost everybody because one, I've tested this out. We've tested this out. And I know several other agencies that have tested it out. Okay. I personally think you should start off with a $297 monthly offer, no less, right? If anything, go up to maybe $497 as your core plan, right? And then you also want to have a $297 setup fee. And I'll tell you what goes into that setup fee, right? Now, that's your gateway offer, right? How do you lead with that? So let's say, for example, you have a prospect that's ready to go and you shared a demo with them and you're trying to figure out what they're wanting. You have the option of saying, hey, listen, I have a system that's completely built out. For you to self-manage it, it's $297 per month. Or for me to manage it, it's $1597. Which option makes perfect sense for you today, right? So from a sales process perspective, it shouldn't change too much, right? It's just your offer that changes, right? Now, my recommendation is to have a gateway offer as an agency. It allows them to come in easily, right? And they're not forced to purchase $1597 per month, right? Now, if you know that they need more than just that, you're able to move them up to a professional service, right? And that professional service could be based on marketplace. It could be based on your own services that you provide. It could be based on your coaching, your consulting, whatever it is that you do. Then that's what that maintenance offer is, right? So let's say, for example, they cancel that maintenance offer 2-3 months later because we know that maintenance offer has a high churn. You're not going to be hurting. Your book of business is not going to hurt even if they cancel that maintenance offer, right? You guys remember that Excel sheet that we put together for you guys? You guys remember that? Anybody need me to show that one more time? Just a quick review.
One that you can make up to $1 million.
Yeah, so let me see if I could find it. So let's say your monthly goal is like 25 customers, right? Which I think is reasonable for SaaS, right? I recommend charging at $297. So that's your monthly recurring charge, $297, period. One price, one offer. Keep it simple, right? Right? Then you have a setup fee, which is $297. Now, I recommend the setup fee. And obviously, one thing that I do want to tell you guys is we're in the process of, at high level, launching a beta white label setup for you guys and your customers, where let's say you go close a client and they're ready to be onboarded and set up. We're thinking about putting that together. And that's one of the things that our team is working on, and I can send you the links about that today, right? But if you charge, let's say $297, and high level will fulfill your setup for $99, or let's say you do it yourself, right? You should be able to get about $7,400 a month off of 25 customers. Those are one-time $297 setup fee, right? So your total monthly revenue will be around 14, right? Now, if you have that kind of numbers coming in, at the end of December, you should be at 300 if you're at pace. Let's say you're not let's say you go down to like 100 clients, right? Your total monthly revenue still should be at 30 grand a month without, guess what? A high churn, right? And that's where the gold is, because you would never have to go find another client ever again. That could be the end of your run. 1 year full run on SaaS, and then it's just mailbox money coming in, right? It should be that easy, right? Now, if you charge a setup fee like that, one, you can get somebody else to do the setup for you. You can even hire in-house account manager for about $5K to $6K, right? You could even have a closer that you bring in for $2K base salary and give them even 100% commission off that first month. And your acquisition cost is a little high, but It's a self-sustaining machine, right? So I want to go back to my slide and say, it's really important that you charge a setup fee, even if you don't leverage us for our white label support, our white label setup, right? Even if you don't, because if you don't have that setup fee, now you're going to have to take the revenue off of your monthly retainer that's coming in through subscription, I meant, right? And then you're going to have to cater towards that, right? I see there's a few questions coming in, right? Let's see. Cool. Awesome. Any questions on this business model, this pricing model? Anything we can talk about on this? Anybody want to add on to this? How many of you guys have tried this already and it's working? Give me a 1 if you've already tried launching with the $297 offer and you're getting bites in your industry. Okay, awesome. There's a lot of ones, right?
I have different price points, for example, for tough demographics, but yeah, this presentation does work.
Yeah, it does work. So here's what you guys are all thinking about. You're thinking about bronze, silver, and gold, right? You're thinking about, oh man, my base plan, my middle plan, and my super plan, right? My expert plan. Stop thinking like that. You're not going to be functioning like a true software company. You're functioning like a SaaS hybrid, right? All you need is 1, maybe 2 plans to launch, right? For you to launch, I just say get a gateway offer out and roll, right? Don't wait to create your pro plan. Don't divide up, 20 features we have and decide, okay, plan 1 is going to be this, plan 2 is going to be this, plan 3 is going to be this, because guess what? You do have to worry about second month, whether they're going to actually log in, right? You guys are all marketing agencies. We have the luxury of throwing 40 features at you guys. You guys are all advanced enough to navigate through that kind of noise, right? Your chiropractor is not going to be doing that. Your automotive guy is not going to be doing that. Your realtor guys are not going to be doing that, right? Your interior design gals are not going to be going through 5 different software plans. They just want a solution, right? So from that context, I recommend just launching with 1 offer ready to go and worry about your own version of Pro Plan, right, later. Now, any questions on this pricing model before I go to my next point? Okay. Let's see. Okay, I see there's so many messages happening. I'm not going to keep track of all of it. If you have questions for me, I'll go through it. Okay, awesome. So when you're launching your SaaS, right, there's 3 things that I want you to pay attention to. This is where I've seen a few agencies take the wrong turn, and they came back to us asking us for help, and we learned from those experiences. So I want to kind of share a couple of items with you, right? Number 1 thing is the marketing play, the messaging, okay? This could go sideways quite often because you guys are all technology providers, so you tend to live in a technology world, your mind, right? So when you write copy, guess what kind of copy you write? You write technology-oriented copy, right? And when you read it, it's simple to you, but to the outsider, it's not that simple, okay? So let's first talk about SaaS marketing, right? Now, let's see. Okay, cool. I'm going to go through all the questions, guys, at the end of my thought process here, so that way I'm not distracted, okay? Keep the messages coming. I'm going to go through it in a little bit, okay? So number 1 thing is the SaaS marketing. Some of you are looking at companies like Podium and Thrive and all these great, business models, which is great. But when you look at their messaging, right, it's going to be technology-oriented messaging, right? So I put together a do's and don'ts list of marketing, okay? This is going to be really helpful for a lot of you. So the do's and the don'ts, right? Here's what I don't want you guys to do when it comes to running your organic marketing, your paid ads, whatever else that you're wanting to do, okay? Here's what you don't want to do. Do not base your messaging around a feature base at all. Your clients cannot relate to that. Your prospects in those industries cannot relate to that, right? Here's the second one that I've seen a lot of you run ads, and I've seen generalized statements, right? Do not lead with generalized outcomes in your messaging. And I'm talking about when you run your paid ads or when you're putting together your email scripts and things like that for prospecting, right? And then also non-niched results, right? You cannot go into this SaaS mode without niching down. And if you do have results and just keep it all generalized, it's not going to really resonate with that crowd, right? And then tech-oriented messaging, and I think I shared this already, you don't want to be feature central, right? And that's not the way you come off your clients. And what happens is, if you do take the approach of feature-based solutions, you come off as a CRM, right? If you come off as a CRM, your clients are not going to value your marketing skills. They just see you as a tool, right? They're like, you know what? I've got a CRM, and that thing can do quotas, that thing can do invoices, that can do text messaging already. I don't think I need another CRM. I already have a CRM, right? And that's what happens with that kind of messaging. What you do want to do is speak specifically to a result-oriented outcome, right? So, for example, if I'm talking to a realtor, for example, right? How many of you guys are in the real estate space? Let's do an example for real estate real quick, right? Sell the benefits, not the features. Exactly, right? So if I'm talking to a realtor, I'm going to talk to him or her based on how many closes they can handle. Hey, how many listings can you handle, right? I'm not going to go in and be like, hey, do you want this two-way texting tool that I have? They're just going to be like, oh, no, that's cool, bro. I already got it. I'm with Keller Williams. We get it for free. Like, no need for that, right? Then all of a sudden, you're like, man, what happened? Like, I don't even know why they didn't even resonate with me. It's because of this messaging, right? So you want to stay, if you had a gateway to choose for your marketing overall, you want to market your business just like how you would market the agency, right? You're not going to market like you would do a software company, in my opinion, right? And the more niched you are, the better messaging you can do. I don't know how many of you were on that workshop I did just last week, and we did an example there on a script, and we got so sub-niched into that sector and started speaking to them very much at a personal level, right? And that's really what you want to do when it comes to your messaging. Any questions on this before I go into the sales process, right? Any questions on SaaS marketing, right? Is this resonating with you? Now, you guys are all creative people, right? You're going to be able to create your own prospecting, your own scripts, your own messages of what's going to resonate with your industries, your type of, customers and all of that. Any questions on this? Let's see. Is this clear? Is this?
I have a question.
Go for it. Yeah. Brian, is that Brian?
That's correct.
Okay. What's going on, Brian?
Paulson, thank you so much for the time today. We all really appreciate it. I was just wondering in regards to having a niche specific solution or a niche, focus. Is this for the industry that you're going to be going into, or your offer statement is niche?
Well, your offer statement is going to be based on the industry you go into, right?
Well, I mean, you could have a general offer statement, right? I mean, it could be converting and nurturing big leads or something of that nature that resounds with everyone. So that's why I was wondering what you mean by.
No, I don't like the generalized broad stroke, right? Because what you're going to have to do if you go down that route is play with the big software companies, right? And that's the wrong pocket you want to play in as a marketing agency offering SaaS, right? So I recommend you diving into the industry, creating your mission statement around that industry, right? And really not basing it like it's a software, right? You want to play as if it's your marketing solution, right? So, for example, Brian, what industry are you in, if you don't mind me asking, or have you niched down or no?
We currently are in SEO. We did not niche down to a specific
Okay.
industry that we're providing services, but I'm assuming you are, as a good example, you'd be like recommending like Law Hustle, right? Their approach.
Yeah. So that's one example, right? But let's say my thought process is you can brand yourself according to that industry, right? So let's say if I'm going after interior designers and I know I'm going to work with females from 35 to 45 years old, and that's my avatar, right? And if that's the case, I'm going to create my messaging around what resonates with that crowd, right? So it's more like, hey, how many stagings can you handle this month, right? How many high-rise, decor projects can you handle this month? And that's my angle when it comes to marketing, right? A lot of people, when they add on, as an agency, right, when they add on SaaS to their portfolio, SaaS to their stack of offers, they get really convoluted on the messaging altogether, and they start thinking about all the tech pieces that they had to do to put together this amazing offer, right? At the end of the day, your clients are not going to know the difference between our text platform versus somebody else's text platform, right? Our funnels versus somebody else's funnels, your voicemails versus somebody else's voicemails, right? So because they don't know the difference, I recommend leading with marketing as your angle more than anything else, right?
So what actually, when you ask them that question, so I'm a salesman at heart, and when somebody asks me about, hey, how many appointments can you get? And they come up with a witty question like, okay, how many can you deliver? So if we're going.
Well, remember, we have so let's talk about this in that context, right? Let's talk about the SaaS sales process, right? So when it comes to the sales process, here's how we all typically do it, right? We have an intro call. We qualify them because we don't want to waste time on a demo that's not qualified, right? All of our time is extremely valuable, and we know that we don't want to be in front of the wrong prospect who's not ready to go. So we have an intro call, and then we move them to a demo, and then we have a proposal phase. Some of you guys do on-site, on the spot proposal signing. Some of you send an invoice out. Some of you send a mail out. There's different variations there. And then once that contract is signed, then they go through an onboarding call where they bring everything together, get access to the Facebook pages and, Google and whatever else. That's the marketing services process, right? With SaaS hybrid, our vision is to get to a world of a self-serving system, right? It's an intro call, a demo, and then they should be able to go right into the checkout page and just sign up, right? So some of you that are advanced at sales, you will be able to get your clients to a self-serving mode, right? Some of you that are not that advanced, it's going to take a little bit more hand-holding until your brand builds up a little bit, right? Once your brand builds up enough and that industry gets to know you a little bit and they are familiar with it and other practitioners and things like that are talking about you, then you're going to see more self-serving happening, right? So in your process, in that question, Mr. Rodriguez, like if they ask me, hey, how many appointments can you get me? They're going to only ask me that where? Intro call or demo? Where are they going to ask me that?
They're going to ask you that on the intro call.
I'm glad you asked. Tell me about how you bring in your customers today.
Well, we're right now. Yeah, right now they're going to tell you they have word of mouth. So then I already saw plenty of your YouTube webinars, and it helped me actually put the whole thing together between how to actually sell and how to actually combine the marketing. And it was very helpful.
Yeah. So you go in your regular marketing sales process. The only thing that's going to ultimately change is that offer slide, right? You're going to go through your demos and you're going to get to that offer slide. And instead of just having one offer, you're going to have two offers, right? And that's what a SaaS hybrid agency is going to do now. It's have two offers. One is a self-managing system for $297, or I can manage it for you at $1597, right? And then When they say yes, you divide up the tab, right? So that way, when you do have to downsell, you don't have to necessarily resell again and have to recapture a sale that was already there, right? So from a sales process perspective, this is the change that you guys are going to kind of foresee when it comes to the SaaS hybrid. So now, remember, guys, with the SaaS rollout 3 that we just did, right? We're allowing you guys to create your own plans. You're able to create multiple plans. You're able to create a custom plan. And you're also, when you create those plans, what you're actually doing is creating back-end checkout pages with those plans, right? In back end of the system. So that way, guess what? When you're done with the demo, you can literally pull up the checkout page and allow the client to self-serve themselves while you're on a call with them if you have to, right? Or you can send them the link and they will sign for it themselves, right? Or, hey, here's a trial, right? So you guys have some flexibility in how the rollout 3 happened, right? And you're able to decide how you want them to be served, right? Now, you don't have to follow this self-serve model. You can still follow the classic marketing services model to get your onboarding going, right? You'll be able to sell plenty of SaaS clients, even if you're doing the standard demo, your standard intro calls. And here's what I recommend you guys all completely just let go. And it's going to be hard to do. I challenge all of you to let go the proposal phase of your business, especially with SaaS, because the last thing you want to do is sit around and create proposals for $200 tickets, right? It's just too much strain for a sales team to go back and forth, right? Unless you have it off-sited and somebody else is handling it for you, sure. But if you're on your own and you got maybe 2 or 3 people working together, like, I don't recommend sending proposals out. I recommend you onboarding the client right away live with them, right? That's a better way to go about it. It's more personable. It's more easier that way. Anything you guys want to add on to this? Let's see. Don says, I thought custom plans were not available yet. Maybe they're not. That's news to me. If they're not, they're not. But regardless, you can deactivate whichever plans you don't want to activate, right? You'll be able to just launch with one plan if you want to, right? Let's see. Camila says, I see a lot of questions, so I'll come back to that. Anything you guys want to ask on the sales process?
Hey, Paulson, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Head on this hybrid SaaS versus SaaS plus done for you. I endorse this. So our people here, whomever listening, they don't do the same mistake we did. Even before high level, we were white labeling others like CRM code, whatever. And we did this mistake. When you just keep it SaaS only, your niche, I assume everybody's like serving business owners. Business owners, not tech savvy people. So in a point, they will be like, you know what, this is too much for me. And I don't want to learn because they want to learn their own stuff. So they will hire a tech or digital marketing specialist. So what used to happen to us, that digital marketing specialist, obviously, either they come and they use their own affiliate link with whatever HubSpot, ClickFunnels, and they take away that client or that user, or they do whatever we do. They can't sign up for high level. So you see what I'm saying? So that SaaS only, it's a huge mistake. It's so hard to run SaaS.
So Tim, what you're saying is before high level, you launched a SaaS only reselling or affiliating.
Even with high level, we tried. It's a dream, as you say, like it's a dream. Okay. I wish to have a SaaS model business, just like Podium and everybody and people. I have that marketing awareness. Unless you are like, YC, whatever, like supporting, you are in that level. I'm not saying SaaS is bad, but this is the best because this way, just offering that done for you setup or like managing, even if the objection will be only the financial, like if they can afford or not. But in one day, if they face any problem or they want to hire or they take help, they're not gonna go post a job. Hey, we want somebody to manage our CRM, called
Right.
whitelabel.com,
Yeah.
whatever. So they will get back to you. Can you help us? And then if you can like package your stuff, and I'm telling you, like we lost we lost team members because of this bad business model. We lost a lot of clients. It's just mistake.
Yeah, I had a guy who sold like 30 or 40 SaaS only less than 2 months ago, right? He was like, man, I went through all your webinars. It was amazing. I launched it. And then 2 months in, almost everybody rolled out of his SaaS offer because he was like, dude, I've got like no adoption on this, right? Nobody logged in the second month. And I'm like, well, they don't have a reason to engage with you, right? They don't have any reason to talk to you after you just launch, right? So I highly recommend not letting go of the done for you services, the retainer models, anything else. Let's say you don't even do, let's say you guys are one of those agencies out there that don't have a big professional service line, but maybe you have consulting, maybe you have an education side, maybe you have a in-person event, maybe you have a group of community or something that you can offer, because the second month on, you're not going to just create stickiness just because of the tech, right? And that's where you're going to see more challenges, especially when they have more support problems, billing problems. Everything is just too one-sided on the SaaS by itself, okay?
Not only that, even if you don't want to do SEO lead generation, just learn, go high level, and offer them done for you high level stuff. Hey, website, do this, answering people, chat with you. Only that would be enough.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. At least high level makes it easy for you guys to be able to say, you know what, here's a marketplace. You can leverage it if you want to. Or, hey, guess what? We can put together a system. Here's email marketing. I had a guy, he was telling me, dude, I set up LinkedIn cold outbound messaging on LinkedIn. He set it up to his high level account where his LinkedIn was just generating whatever, bot that he had on LinkedIn was just generating cold leads. So even if his clients didn't sign up for paid advertising, cold leads were coming in. So the clients just see new leads coming in, even though they're bad quality leads. We know they're bad quality leads, right? But it was just, the conversation just kept continuing between him and the client. They start talking about more advanced things. And he eventually would use that quality of lead problem conversation into selling them services, right? And that's the way he kept stickiness. So yeah, Tim is obviously sharing his experiences on this business model. And that's why I'm telling you guys, stick to the hybrid, offer both services, both sides to it. And it's much better than offering marketing services by itself, right? Marketing services by itself is just like, you need to go get a new client every 2 months, no matter how good of a service you provide. And that's just the only way you can survive, right? So SaaS hybrid, the sales process, any questions on the sales process? The marketing agencies, the standard way of doing it is the old, intro call, the demo, you got the proposals, right? And then you have the onboarding call. With SaaS, you should be able to get into a world of intro call, demo. So that's going to be similar to how you would run with the marketing agency, right? And then the transaction is what's going to be a little different, right? You can get them to a world of self-serving. You can get them to a world of live onboarding, right? And really build your brand and educate the crowd for them to be able to build that reputation with you, right? So hopefully that makes sense. Any questions on the sales process? Let's see.
One quick question. So for example, if they take on your offer and they say, hey, yeah, I would like you to manage for me for the 1597. So what am I really getting that you're managing for about $300 a week and you charge me $1,300 a month? And then the 297 is for the platform. What would you come back and say?
I'll say that one more time. So their question is like, okay, you have two offers, right?
Yeah, you can upsell.
Yeah, so the way I present my offers, right? It's going to be do-it-yourself model or done for you. I don't mix that, right? Listen, I've built the system out. For you to self-manage it, it's going to be $297. If you don't want to manage it, you want us to handle it, it's $1597. What option makes best sense for you today?
Well, I don't mind you to manage it for me at the 1597, but what are you really managing for me with that $1,300 additional?
Right. So that's going to base on the industry needs. This is why you guys as a marketing agency taking this model on would make sense, because you know what that industry needs. For example, let's say you're in the home services industry. Those guys are working out of their trucks. We know that that mobile app upgrade is huge for them, right? A regular software company don't look at it like that, right? So that, and you know for a fact, let's say, for example, you're in the automotive dealership space. You know that robo-dialer and that texting system is so big for them, right? Let's say you're working with interior design shops. You know the funnel system and that making sure it's a beautiful laid out funnel is more important to them than anything else. So you guys being industry experts, you're going to want to know what's important to that industry, right? It's not going to be, everything is not going to work for everybody. And I don't recommend you having multiple variable services. If you're going to know that industry most critically needs SEO, stick with SEO. Don't go in and offering customized professional services. Okay? Stick with one or two offers that make sense for that upsell, and don't deviate from it, because you put all that pressure on your account managers, your operations, your ad buyers, you know, everybody. Right? Let's see. Ricardo,
Your microphone is a little muffled now.
What was that?
Your microphone is a little muffled. I mean,
Maybe I touched it.
I don't know.
Is that better? Is that better?
Yep, it is.
Gotcha. Okay, awesome. Ricardo.
Question.
Ricardo raised his hand.
Hey, Paulson, nice to meet you, man. Seen a lot of your videos, very helpful.
Awesome.
So, okay, you just mentioned in a previous slide that you just want to have one offer, not the silver, bronze, and gold. And
Yeah,
yet,
we're talking about your core SaaS offers, right? Your subscription.
oh, okay. So subscription will be either DFY or self-service, right?
Correct.
So
No. Your subscription is going to be self-service. It's not going to be DFY. The done for you is going to be your maintenance offer. So your gateway offer is going to be essentially do it yourself, right? And this is from the perspective of the clients. The clients are going to do everything themselves.
okay.
Right? I have a system. You can operate in it if you want to.
Okay.
But you got to do it all yourself.
Now, if that happens, and I saw you just mention that you want to have something that's sticky. If that happens, how do you keep them sticky?
Well, that's the whole point, right? You're going to know that each industry is going to have certain needs for their. So here's one thing I can tell you, Ricardo. Almost every business today that is at least 2 years old, they spend about $600 to $700 on software. We know that expense is already there, right? On top of that, they dabble with marketing expenses based on their needs, and they cut off marketing expenses based on their needs. It's a very, inconsistent decisional process there, right? But we know for a fact they stick it to their software, their expenses, and they know they need a CRM system, right? So
Right.
if you go into an industry and you know that they're going to value your SaaS offer, meaning your texting, right? Your funnels, your, high level has what? I don't know, 30, 40, 50 something features. All you need to do is take 3 or 4 that's relevant to that industry. No more. That's it. Do not overcrowd them with features, right?
Okay.
Based on what Tim just said also, they're not tech people. They don't know the difference. They see all of us as computer guys. They don't know if we're marketing people, consulting. They just see us all as working on the computer, right? Like that's about the extent of it. So in my opinion, figure figure out an industry, figure out what's going to be most relevant for them, pick maybe 3 combination features and roll with that. That's it.
So they do it themselves, and with the 3 features you said that, they agree that they might need. And would it be like support, like you're there for support for that?
That's it. Yeah. So let me clarify fulfillment a little bit, right? That will give you.
Yeah,
I think
I just need to like.
What do they get? What do they actually get? Right. Okay. So what industry do you work in typically?
Chiropractor.
Chiropractor. Perfect. Guess what? Here's what, what? This actually helps me move into my next point, which was SaaS expansion, right? So let me go into expanding. So Ricardo, I'll come to you. I'm going to answer your question here on the slide. So there's 2 ways to expand this whole business model, right? It's the horizontal expansion, which is going from 97 to 297 to 497, right? That's taking, at high level, that's what we did, right? We've got the starter packet at like 97, then we have the agency and then the pro. That's horizontal expansion, right? Yep. And that's the way you're going to grow over time. You're not going to be able to grow like that in the immediate future. None of you, because guess what? Your clients are not going to be advanced enough that fast. You have to educate them. You've got to build those brands before they can say, oh, I like what you got, but I want more. They're not going to be there anytime soon. So the way you could expand today in the immediate front is vertical expansion, right? Which is adding on that retainer plan, right? Hey, you need Facebook ads? Cool, because you don't have any leads on your SaaS platform, right? You don't have any kind of list of anything, right? So that's an easy way for you to expand. Now, how do you expand properly, right? Here's how I simply would set up a SaaS package. Like, this is what I do right here myself, right? Feature 1 is business texting. What the heck is business texting? Well, you as a business now have the ability to text a consumer if you want to. And that's the conversations tab. That's one feature, right? And we're one of the few that offer a 2-way text, right? A lot of the other platforms, even if you resold it, it's just 1-way text. We know this has a bigger value play, right? And number 2 in my simple SaaS package is going to be a sales tracker. That's literally how I'm going to present it and say, hey, business owner, here's a sales tracker that comes with it. What in the world is a sales tracker? It's going to be that opportunities board that's going to help you watch your lead go from one stage of the sales cycle to the next stage. Right. So what am I turning on so far? Conversations and opportunities. What's next? Well, you already have a website. Why don't we just take the organic traffic that's already there and bring them into your system? Let's just install a chat widget on your website. And that's what I call a fast responder. You see how I almost
you're kind of taking
it down.
Right, you're productizing the features.
Exactly. I let me layer it on.
Oh, service.
I branded it a certain way for them to understand it, right? Right. If I'm talking to a medical provider, I'm going to say, fast track patient responder or something like that, right? You can get creative, but at the end of the day, guess what, Ricardo? What you just asked me was like, what do I deliver? This is all I deliver for $297. Now, as an agency, guess what? I want to be better than my fellow agency. As much as I love you guys, I still want to stand out just a little bit so I don't lose my clients. So for my conversations piece and opportunities, I'm going to make sure I build out a good amount of marketing campaigns behind my opportunities board. I'm going to have my triggers all set up so that way, let's say if my client moves that lead from one phase to the next round of messages fire off, right? Mm-hmm. So that way, I'm going to give them what they need, right? At the end of the day, to be successful. They're not going to have to self-set up anything, right? Because if you ask them to self-set up, you guys all understand how hard it is for that first month of high level, right? You guys all know, like, you got to set up your Twilio, figure out the bugs around that. You got to set up your Mailgun. Then you got to put in some support tickets. You know, you guys love us and we love you guys, but at the end of the day, that initial 20 days is rough. You know, it's rough because you're trying to figure out how to get the answers. Where do I go? Who do I trust? I already paid to launch, right? And your clients are gonna, you don't want them to feel like that. So I recommend this particular combination for $297 to just get going, right? So this is your basic plan, right? Notice there is no bronze and silver and diamond, right? Like, I'm just simply saying, have a base plan, launch. You guys will be able to get really good revenue off of that, and then do vertical expansion. Don't focus on horizontal expansion until you feel comfortable that your clients are gonna adopt. If you don't think they're gonna log in that second month, they're not, that industry is not ready for horizontal expansion. You notice, you know, at high level, we came out with the pro plan like 3 years in. We didn't just launch the pro plan, right? We learned about what you guys are wanting, listened to what you guys had to say, built things around what you did, right? And then we launched that plan, right? So similarly, you want to take your time on the horizontal expansion. Now, that's going to be different versus like a pricing strategy, right? Right? You can have 2 plans just for them to go into that one plan, right? You can have, like, for example, let's say, let me just create a little subsector so you guys understand pricing strategy. Let's see. I'll just create a new slide, okay? Now, ideally, you may know that there is one plan that you want them to go into, right? So if you say, let's say there is a basic is at, let's say 97, and let's say intermediate is at, let's say 297, right? Advanced at, let's say 350, right? So if you model your price like this, more than likely what's going to happen is they're going to look at all these options, and your top 2 prices are too close to each other, right? Your advanced and intermediate are too close to each other, right? And that's intentional, right? A lot of companies do this intentionally, right? Because what they want you to feel like is like, well, when I look at this for just $50 more, I can just get the whole thing, right? And that's the strategy they use, right? But let's say you go, let me just see if I could duplicate that, right? And that's if you want them to go to the advanced, right? If you want them to, choose advanced, this is the pricing model you choose, right? Let's say you want to go with the 97, right? You want them to all be at 97. If that's the case, what you do is the opposite, right? 127, and this thing is like way too expensive, right? Like 650, right? So here, the top best choices for them are 97 and 127, and they would choose one of those, right? And that's just the way pricing psychology works, right? And let's say you want it to be somewhere in the middle, and you want them to just choose that middle package. What you're going to do is 100, 150, and 200. And this is a classic advanced US corporate pricing model. Like this is the way big companies price big options, right? If you want them to all go through one plan, you want to lean them towards one side, right? So for you guys, you know that you want them to all hit that 297, regardless of where the price is, wherever it's structured. You guys following me so far? Is this helpful, or did I lose you?
I get it.
It's helpful.
Okay, cool. Okay, so when you lay out your packages, you can simply just, for $10 more, you get the whole thing. That's the feeling they should get, right? So if you know you're going to do 297 and that's the one plan you want everybody to adopt, you might as well just have 250, right? 280 and 290, right? Or 287 and 297. They should all be able to feel like, oh, $10 more, I'll just get the whole shebang, right? And that's the way you look at pricing strategy. But let's see, any takeaways? Let's see, there's like over 100+ messages. What I'm going to do is, instead of wasting time reading through every single one, just raise your hand and I'm going to go through all of your questions. That's all I wanted to share with you guys today. As far as SaaS mode is concerned, right, we're going live today and tomorrow, depending on which account you're on. This is a good time for all of you to upgrade to your Pro, okay? Pro will allow you to now create your own subscriptions, right? It'll allow you to decide whether you're going to want to do a trial for them. You can add complimentary, credits to whatever they're doing. You'll be able to pretty much set up whatever it is that you want to set up for them based on the features, right? Oh, one more thing before I forget.
Are upsells going to be available?
What do you mean by upsells? These upsells?
For example, if they click, let's say on the previous slide you had it with the different pricing models, let's say they click on the 97, for example, and before they go to the payment two-way form, you can upsell. Like say you give them, 1 month of the intermediate for the 97, just so they can see the more features and get up to that. So you upsell if they already decided to go on it. Before they pay, you'll give them like a pop-up or some way to be able to
do that. You'll be able to, well, when you create those packages, right, Marco, all your packages will be listed out on that checkout page.
Right.
And guess what? Remember, in your sales process, it more than likely in the beginning, you're going to be there with them, right? You're on a Zoom call with, so they're not being forced to self-serve until you get to a point where you're like, you know what, I can just simply throw this funnel at them. I know it's working and they're going to self-serve themselves, right? But you're there with them. So because of that, they're going to be, you're going to be able to present them the offers that you have. From a tech perspective, yes, you're going to be able to, anytime they go into their billing plan, they're going to be able to upgrade to your next plan, right? But I don't recommend you having too many plans. I think you should just launch with the minimum viable product and get going, right?
I'm actually launching with just the 297 to start off with.
Yeah, that's what I recommend. That's what I recommend. Eventually, we're going to talk about, this thing right here, the horizontal expansion. Figure out, once you learn your customers more and more, what do they really want? Right? What more can you add to their tech stack? Maybe in a few months, right? It ain't going to be just overnight. But that's definitely going to be good. Let's see, Brett, let's go with Brett.
Hey, Paulson, just really quick question. I know that the SaaS configurator is still on the beta side. So the first question, I guess, is because I've got the pro plan and it's not coming up on my normal plan. So I know there's in the process of rolling that out, and that's cool. My question is, the work that I do on the beta side to build out the SaaS plans, is that going to translate into my account once it's out of beta? And then it is. Okay.
Yeah. Whatever you set up is going to be live.
Okay. And is there going to be a webinar around kind of, I guess you could say, getting your hands dirty in the SaaS configurator and getting into SaaS mode? Because that's what we thought today was going to be.
Exactly.
Yeah, so today I was requested to do, there's a lot of people that don't understand the business model altogether. And this was the webinar to just kind of like layer out the entire business model so you understand what you can now offer with your agency. On Wednesday, I believe, don't quote me on it, I'll double check with Chase, but on Wednesday, we're gonna do a tech stack review of like a tech workshop of like, here's the nuts and bolts to the configurator. Here's where you don't click. Here's where you click. Like, we're going to go through another webinar this week already, right away, as soon as we're live with, Brett, here's how you put together your plan. But everybody would have been lost there if they don't have the fundamental concept of
I totally understand. I was just under the impression that today was going to be that tech stack webinar. So no big deal.
Well, yeah, we're going to be live, I believe, later tonight or tomorrow morning. I know with COVID, a lot of our team members in India were not doing well and stuff like that. So, but our plan is to go live later tonight or first thing in the morning. And then Wednesday or Thursday, I'll double check with Chase. We're going to do a tech workshop. Hey, here's how you set up your plans. Here's how you integrate with Stripe and all these things so you don't have to deal with it. Oh, by the way, on that note, let me just also, for those of you, so here's one thing that we talked about. Those of you that may have already known about this, we are getting ready to offer a white label setup for you and your clients, okay? Now I'm gonna put that link. Okay, we're only going to take a few people here, just so you know. I'm not going to go too public with this, just so you know. But we're in the process of putting together a beta on setting up your clients on your behalf. So for example, Brett, let's say you go close a client and you don't want to deal with setting that client up. We at High Level are going to act like your business and set up that client for you at $100. Okay, that's going to be really, I mean, it's going to be epic for you guys because it's a huge piece to onboarding the client that we're going to just completely lift off of your hands. Okay, but remember, guys, this is in the early stages of launching. This is a beta, just so you guys know. We're just now calling the beta for this, right? Devin says, does that include customizing the snapshot? I don't think so. It's going to be more like, hey, here are the list of tech stack you want to add to that client, and we'll set all that up for them, right? Maybe you could save it as a snapshot later, but that is probably what it is. But I want you to go through that funnel, take a look at it. If you have any questions, put in a support ticket or ask in the Facebook group. We'll do another dive. I guess next Wednesday or Thursday when we do another webinar on the tech side, we'll go into details of what's included in the SaaS done for you setup, okay? But yeah, I just wanted to share that with you guys before I forgot. Let's see, I see a few more people raising their hands. Let's see. Brett, any follow-up to that, buddy, before I forget?
Nope, I think that's good. If you've got that workshop planned later, I'll be good.
Yeah, we do. And Chase is going to be the one doing that, Chase Buckner, by the way. Let's see, Helder, let's go with you.
Actually, I just logged into the backend. I actually just saw that the SaaS configurator is there. I just saw it right now. So
okay, yeah, I mean, here's the thing. We have like 12,000 accounts, right? Everybody's going to be trickled in phases. And by the way, this is a perfect time for you to upgrade to Pro. And if you've seen it on Pro, that's because, you know, they might have turned it on based on when you enrolled and things like that. But regardless, some of you may see it, some of you may not. Don't panic if you don't see it. I would say give it till tomorrow, maybe even end of day before you even ask anything about it, honestly, because everybody's going to have it if you're in the Pro. Okay. But yeah, any questions on it, Helder?
No, it's
okay. You were just mentioning that you see it.
Yeah, well, but I just noticed that I'm on the beta server still. So,
yeah. Well, yeah, beta is already live, but it's not live in everybody's regular accounts yet if you're on Pro. Yeah. Beta, you can get access to it.
One question that this might help a few people, and why took me a couple months to actually understand everything that you're talking about for this past few months, for these webinars and SaaS mode. It's a lot of these industries or tough towns, they see that 297 price point a little bit higher because they didn't see the value yet. So when I asked you earlier about these little 3 plans, or the 47 or the 149 or then the 297, is for basically what we offer for them, and then making sure that the customer support is there. So basic reputation management, offering text and texting, and seeing what we can help them with. Because as soon as they see that, well, you're only charging $47 a month, any other CRM that just charges like for tattoo shops or something, they're actually using their Gmail calendar and they're using that. So if we actually offer this at a low price point, and they can start seeing, okay, but this is helpful. As soon as I went to the tattoo shop and I put charging $47 a month, $97 setup fee, and as soon as I put that Google My Business account into it, the metrics comes in that they receive 130 phone calls a month. That's 4 phone calls a day that they're getting. And what is happening with this? I set up triggers for that incoming call text message. If he goes to voicemail, boom, gets an automatic text message to the platform, notification that, hey, you missed a call, texting the customer, set up triggers. So this is going to create value. Then they're going to say, okay, what else can you do for us? And it's opening the table for the higher price point. So this is like balancing it out in a way for the people that are afraid or they're getting denied on the higher price point. Then, you know, I'm not niched down yet. So this is where my trial and error as a salesman and understanding as customers, what is it that I can help you with, solve, and let's start entry level, low point. So I went with 3 price points based on my experience.
Nice. Yeah. And you guys are going to know those industries and their movements much more than anybody else, because you're in the thick of things with them, right? And I used to be in the dental space, and I can tell you, dental practices spend thousands of dollars on software. So if you come in and say, hey, I've got a tool for $47, they won't take you seriously, right? You want to come in and be like, hey, I've got something for $3,000 and it's going to change the way you do business. And that's that crowd, right? But if you go to the barber, they're going to be like, oh man, I got a mobile app for $10 and it's called Gloss and this and that. And like, you know, and so you're going to know. Yeah.
A lawyer, I'm charging $149. A real estate guy, they're going to do a lot of the stuff. I'm charging $297. Of course, I know how to leverage that thing out. But when it comes down to helping a lot of small businesses, and if you have 50, 100 shops, like flowers, barber shops, and tattoo places at a low point at 47, and now you have 50 to 100 of these coming in, that's already a good revenue. It's already paying for your subscription. Now you have these higher than mid-range, higher takes that they're going to need your professional services.
Yeah, and it's a great gateway into expansion, and it's a great stability book of business for an agency, right? And it's a perfect happy medium, in my opinion. And like Helder's saying, like, it's okay to test out a few different sectors in the beginning as you're launching your beta, right? You may like certain things or not like certain things about a certain industry as you go. So don't be afraid to get out of your creative boxes and try different things to make sure that you're offering a really high value product, right? So really important. Let's go with Ronald, and let's go with Kat after that. We'll go with Paul after that. So let's go with Ronald.
Hi, Paulson.
Hey, how are you?
Good. I was late getting to this call. It was just a few minutes ago, but I wanted to ask a question. I am still on a trial base, and I signed up for the trial for the 297. So I won't get to see the SaaS menu at all, right? So I have to upgrade. No. Even so, I am still on a trial. Do I get to see on a trial if I upgrade now, or only after I pay?
I think I was just the other day asking if we can cancel trials or allow people to end trials early and go into a plan. We were working on that, but I would say put a support ticket and see if they can enable the pro plan for you if you already upgraded it. I don't know if we would activate Pro because you're on trial, right? So you may have to put in a support ticket to find out. I don't have the answer to that.
Okay.
My gut tells me they have to enable it for you manually.
And just to follow up to that is Google My Business chat available for the regular agency level or only on a pro level?
Does anybody else have the answer to that question? I don't even know.
My business is available for anyone, 97, the
Okay.
97 agent
Okay, yeah.
or the higher up.
Yeah.
The
I'm
Google-
not the tech guy.
Very good.
I'm a tech guy. So these basic offers that Paulson and everyone keeps talking about, that's why I started with a price point low, because you can offer this to any business. Anyone wants the basic stuff: reputation management, two-way texting, Google My Business, and then you then open the door to creating funnels or go to the marketplace, outsource. You don't have to worry about none of these things. The Facebook ads or the Google My Business, the Google ads, everything is there. If you don't have the team, if you're just a one-man show, or just go to marketplace for now. They already have case studies that Paulson and Robin is running through taxes. They already can go to contractors with numbers that already can show what you can do for them, and they'll configure all of everything that's there. So it's just a no-brainer. They're already putting in a platform for you guys here, for us to do this, and it just pitch what you're comfortable with to the industry, and just resell based on those numbers and start from there.
Yeah, honestly, you can sell like the normal way you sell an agency service. You guys have the skill of marketing. You guys have the skill of technology, which is a deadly combination, because software companies don't have the marketing skills. Marketing companies typically don't have the software development skills, right? You guys are able to really come in and be the bridge for a lot of these small business owners, because they have expenses on both sides for that. They have to pay for technology, and then they have to pay for marketing, right? Separately. Today, with SaaS Mode, you'll be able to eliminate that and just go right in. Let's go with Kat. I think it was Kat.
Yeah, hey, Paulson.
Hey.
Nice to meet you, and thank you for this, because I'm one of the persons that are learning this business plan. I just have a question in regards to the sales process. So you said a little while ago that you wouldn't send any proposals, and you just log them in straight away on the live Zoom call.
So it depends, right? So if you're selling the marketing and SaaS together, then you probably would have to send a proposal for the marketing component, right? So at that point, you just include the software side. But software by itself, when you're going SaaS mode, right, and you're only getting that in first, I don't recommend the proposal phase. Like, I don't recommend that at all.
Okay.
It just creates too much tension going back and forth for really a low ticket, right? Like, especially if you're selling it for $100 or less.
No, I understand that. Yeah. So what's your using point in terms of having like a 6-month contract or a 12-month contract with a customer?
If they're going to cancel, they're going to cancel.
Okay.
You're not going to hold them against their will because they have a contract for 6 months, right? They're just not going to use it, right? So the whole point here is for you to be able to go in, and your SaaS obviously will have your own standard terms and conditions, but in the SaaS world, almost everything is like month to month, right? They're just going to cancel in 30 days or whatever, but because you are a solution-based platform or a tool, they're not going to want to cancel. If they cancel, you offer the wrong thing to the wrong person.
Yeah, makes sense.
That's the only reason they would cancel. They, unless you don't provide any support and you don't help them adopt, or maybe you threw 6 or 7 features at them and it got really clustered. It's either the experience they got or something didn't work.
Got it. Yeah, thank you for that.
Yeah, and ideally, remember, when I say churn rate is like 12-18%, right, on the SaaS hybrid, which means you should be able to keep a client, even if it's on a month-to-month contract, for 3-4 years, which is crazy, right? Which is crazy.
sorry about the naivety. Probably this, is a silly question, but just to understand. But do you have any type of agreement contract saying that is a month-to-month basis, or you just pay as you go and you just give them access to a platform?
So in your agency funnel or your SaaS funnel, right?
Yeah.
You're going to have a checkout page. In that checkout page, at the bottom, it's going to say terms and conditions, right? So if you go to gohighlevel.com, at the very bottom, there's terms and conditions, right? Did we ever send out a proposal to you?
No, never. Yeah, makes sense.
Have you ever signed a contract with the software company?
No, never.
Never. Why? It's the industry standard on the platform, and the tools-based model is like, oh, you need to go self-serve and read the terms and conditions if you want to look at it, right? And it's typically around privacy and data and all of that. It's not, like, hey, I'm going to be able to I'm going to allow you to log in for 6 months, right?
Yeah.
It's not that, right? You can't think of it like a marketing service, right? The only reason you would have a proposal in the sales process is if you want to sell marketing services. Some of you guys will realize you don't even ever want to sell marketing services ever again, right?
Yeah.
Ask some of the guys that already launched like a month ago and they're at 50 SaaS clients. They're like, man, I don't even know if I want to ever sell Facebook ads again, right?
Exactly.
I don't ever have to worry about it. So the whole idea of proposal and contracts are going to go away more and more as you graduate into a bigger book.
Yeah, awesome. Paulson, thank you very much. Thank you for your help.
For sure. Let's go with Paul T. Paul, how are you?
Hey, Paulson. Great webinar. Thanks again.
Yep.
Really informative. Couple of questions,
Awesome.
please.
Uh-huh.
I offer content marketing on a monthly marketing service package. Is that something we can add our bespoke products to our package? So if we're selling content marketing for, say, 4 emails a month, 1 a week, and the cost at the moment is £200, including the high-level software, it's $297. So you can add it to the actual high-level packages. Does that make sense?
Yeah. You're delivering, the way you deliver is easy for you, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Well,
then a higher package could be 8 emails a month sort of thing. So you would bundle out marketing services with high levels software capabilities and automation.
right. I mean, those are what you may already want to include in your SaaS. It shouldn't be an add-on service if it has that much value. Maybe that should be part of your core SaaS offer.
Okay.
Right? Why hold off a little bit so you can just upsell them? Because imagine if they had it. If they had it, they'll have tremendous results, right? Because you're confident in your content, right?
Sure. Yeah. Okay.
Right? And if you know that you have enough expertise on that industry and you're able to create content that's going to absolutely crush it, maybe instead of just doing a $297, maybe do a $397 or $497. Because guess what? You charging $100 a month, that's $1,200 for that content piece that you would make by the end of the year, plus maybe 2 or 3 more years over, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You still create tremendous revenue on that. So I recommend not dissecting your package like that, but just including that up front and just maybe charging a bigger number if you're going to offer something.
Hey, Paulson, this is Ty, and that's exactly what we're doing. We have something called our flawless follow-up system, and we've got the emails and the to-dos already checked in. So as they move people on that opportunities list, they're either going to get the email automatically sent, or they're going to get the task that they need to go and, send a text message or do something else. And we built it into.
And by the way, that's what a lot of the agencies are doing with their SaaS offer. They're including text messages, including email marketing, they're including pre-built campaigns, right? But to me, guess what? That all contributes to my conversations.
Yeah. Okay.
It's not a separate new thing. I don't want to nickel and dime them knowing that they're going to get a better result if I just let them have it. And if I just let them have it, they're going to stick it out with me for 4 years for $397 if I include all the email marketing, right? There was another young lady who was selling. She was playing as a SaaS newsletter, right? Monthly newsletter, and that's her SaaS offer, and it includes texting, lead management, and chat widget, and then she includes all her newsletters, right? And it's brilliant, right? So, yeah, great point, Ty. And
Like you
Paul,
said,
what does that make sense? Like, is there any follow-up to that you want to add to?
or just like you said before, that focusing on the results and not getting too worried about.
Yeah, because this is a high revenue generator if you play your cards right. The problem happens when you try to create these like itemized, dissected packages, right? Like, just stick with the best possible offer you can do, run with that, get to a certain level of revenue, and then listen to their feedback, listen to what they have to say, listen to what these business owners are going to say. Oh man, I wish there was a voicemail system. Oh, really? I can help you with that, right? But don't jump in on that when you don't have to. Like just listen to what their problems are, and when you see a pattern, when you see a certain issue, then solve for it at that point, right? But yeah, brilliant.
Paulson.
So just have one quick question.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Paul.
I was just thinking about if the support, what would you recommend on support? If you've got 50 clients signed up and they break something, I don't want to be trying to sort it.
Number one thing I recommend is charging a setup fee up front, right? Early on. Right? That setup fee is going to allow you to have an account manager. Now, the question is, what is that account manager going to be doing? Ideally, they're going to be the support, the onboarding person.
Right. Okay.
Right? That's going to be your high-level expert on your file. And that person should be, remember, an account manager for agency services, they can handle usually 60, 70 clients if you're organized. If you're not organized, they can handle about 35 to 40 clients, right? For SaaS, they would be able to easily handle 100 plus.
Right, okay.
Right. So that setup fee that I recommend charging $297. And if you had 25 new customers coming in, that self-serves itself to be able to bring on an account manager who's going to be your support person. Right. And then remember, we at High Level, we're going to also at some point launch the High Level white label support for you. Right now, it's just the setup that we're launching. Right. Okay. So the setup is going to be launched, but eventually maybe in 2 quarters or so, we'll figure out ways to enable your account managers, right?
Okay, that's music to my ears. Brilliant. Thanks so much.
Yeah.
Paulson, that's a great segue, actually, because my question was, how do you get from that initial?
Hold on, who's that?
Brian.
Brian. Hold on. I'm sorry, man. I'm keeping track of which hands are up so I can unhighlight it and then go ahead, Brian. So let's go with Brian and then we'll go to Pamela after, okay? Brian, what was your segue you said? Yeah, no problem.
I think that's a great segue because my question is, how do you go from that focus and niche beginning package? It's maybe 3 or 2 of the features that are solving an issue to kind of expanding upon that and adding, and what would that price point look like? Because you just discussed, right? Listen, and if they need new features, add them, but how would you price those in monthly? What would be your advice on that?
So I don't recommend you guys going horizontal. So when I say that, let me pull up my slide that I highlighted before. Right. So here I recommend starting with the best possible feature stack. I don't recommend you going and creating more additional packages later for your SaaS because of this particular problem, Brian. It's going to be difficult for any of us to go back and resell and upsell SaaS on top of a SaaS, right? It's different for us to be able to come in and say, you know what, Ty, great being here. I want you to run Facebook ads. That's a different conversation versus, you know what, Ty, you got text messaging for me, but I want text messaging 2.0. That conversation won't happen, right? So, Brian.
So you're saying stick with whatever your position's going to be. So for example, hypothetically, if I wanted it to be reputation management paired with SEO, I would just have the basics of the basics, and I wouldn't add into fully automated client outreach or management at all to that business model.
Well, if you know that it's going to work for them, offer it up front without taking it away, right? If they need it and you know that about that industry, add it on. Don't shy away from it. But what I recommend is, like, if let's say you offer reputation management as your SaaS, right, Brian? And then you have your upsell, which is SEO. That's vertical expansion. That's not horizontal. You're adding a new service line. You're not taking the same service and expanding it, right? You're adding a new service line.
No, I think you misinterpreted what I'm stating. That is what you are correct with what that was. But what I'm trying to say is, right, the reason we're trying to go with reputation management is because all the automation functions of that nature, it'd be much easier to have a support team for that. If you do not have a support team for that, it must be simple enough to provide the results and for them to be happy. So what I'm saying is, if we provided reputation management with the vertical of SEO, and then down the line you have the white label support team, we might want to dabble right into, hey, we're getting your reputation out there, your Google listings there, you're getting a lot of leads. How are you managing all of those?
Right. Yeah, exactly.
And wow, you're doing that manually and then transition. So I don't know if you would recommend that or say stay away from that and go with your initial, right?
It depends on who you are. It depends on who you are and what you're trying to do. If I'm a SaaS agency and I just want, 25 clients, and I'm not trying to create this mass pool of customers to worry about, then I won't go down the route you mentioned. But if I'm looking at, how do I get to 5,000 subscribers? Then I'm going to follow what you said, but not in the beginning. Eventually, maybe like my second phase of launch, right, is going to be, how do I expand on what I already have, create my pro plan versus just the basic, right? And then I want to be able to fulfill the support that comes with it, even though you have high-level support that's coming behind you to support, help you. You want to be able to make sure your account managers can handle that. Your support expertise can handle that. Like you have to support those tickets, right? At least in the beginning. Does that help, Brian? Does that help? Are we saying the same thing? I feel like we're saying the same thing.
I think we're in the same lake, but different boats, but still in the same pond.
What was your question on it? Let me just help answer here. What was your specific question on it?
My specific question is because that's exactly, how you said at the beginning, kind of packaging it with certain features to solve a specific problem. That's how we're going to go about it. We're just a smaller team, so the full automation aspect is sometimes difficult to manage. So what I was wondering is, and I think you mentioned it, is essentially get up and running, get clients with your foot in the door, make them happy, and then down the line when you have white label support or you're at that scale to maybe get a team to support it, then you would introduce phase two, which is, hey, we're getting you leads, you're found. How are you managing them? And then providing, that additional service, because my main goal is to, raise the average unit spend price.
Sure. Yeah. So let's define what support means as well, right? So like the way you would support a client, the way
Pamela.
The way we would manage like a marketing service, it's not that invasive as it's much more invasive than SaaS, right? Like marketing services is a lot of work for account managers. SaaS, it shouldn't be, because I don't recommend you customizing anything, right? Everything is almost cookie cutter, like set in stone type of offers, right? So even if you do offer automations and something goes out or it doesn't work, an account manager on SaaS, Brian, they should be able to handle 100 plus SaaS customers. It's not. And also, you'll see the same type of ticketing coming in, right? You won't see random variations, right? You'll see the same type of problems. And if you do see the same type of problems, then you'll be able to change something about it, right? So it's just a matter of adjusting as you go on it. But from a ticketing perspective, my recommendation is to start lightly, but you do want to expand into different services later and offer bigger packages later and have conversations with your clients so you can upsell them on either bigger SaaS packages or expand them into SEO packages or whatever else that you want to offer.
Fully understandable. Thank you, Paulson.
For sure. Let's go with Pamela. Thanks for your patience.
Yeah, you bet. So I came from the funnel building world, from ClickFunnels, and I'm looking at Go High Level more as a funnel builder and working in that side and helping my niche is coaches, new coaches, to get them. They need the software. They need software, right? And God forbid they go somewhere like that. So I am a digital marketer by trade, and I'm wondering, I'm looking at it a little bit different, I think, than what the conversations have been in regards to everything that Go High Level offers, I think is what we need to market ourselves online. So I offer digital marketing services, but I want to move over. So my question was always, which one do I lead with, the SaaS or the marketing? And I'd like to lead with the SaaS. So was I hearing correctly that you thought that that wasn't as good an idea?
So let me clarify what I mean by leading. I'm sorry?
I didn't quite catch it. Thank you for clarity.
No worries. So when I say lead with marketing, right, I'm talking about prospective messaging, right?
Oh,
so
that I totally get. Yeah, I can't come out. Okay, so just market it in a way with the pain points that my ideal client has. I get that. I totally get that.
Correct. A lot of people are making the mistake of coming and saying, hey, I've got a two-way texting solution for coaches out there. And I'm like, no, you need to function your messaging, your gateway messaging, like you would like a regular marketing solution. And then when you open up the offer, you start with your SaaS offer and then let them decide if they want a done-for-you option.
Got it. So the done for you, that takes me to my next question. The done for you, the speakwith.us that you put up, that looks like it's onboarding for just the CRM side. Is there anyone perhaps on this call or anyone know anyone on how, because Mailgun is not easy. All the domains are challenging for most people to get that funnel side up. And then, let's go add in tracking pixels and stuff too. So
we are going to do that. We are going to get to a world where we would set up everything for everybody, like right out of the gate.
Okay.
But it's too early for me to come out of the woodworks and open up the
sure.
We are going to get to a point of like world simplified, easy onboarding with Twilio and Mailgun and all of that in one run pretty soon. Okay. So that won't be a long-term problem, to be honest.
And then with regards to setting up my own training for my SaaS, do you recommend, even though they've got white label coming, would you recommend that? I'm thinking I would do it based on the snapshots or the way that like a lead funnel and an application funnel and the different things that I think that they need. Would you recommend that I run my own training?
Yeah, so the first like 15 days of your onboarding is really critical, right?
Yes.
Now, your expertise, for example, it needs to come from a marketing perspective again, right? It's more like, I don't want to just show you how to build your own funnel, but I want to show you how to write your copyright, the psychology behind how to structure this, right? And that's going to be what's different about Pamela versus anybody else, right? And that I recommend you doing, but you want to be careful that it's not a self-serving. Here are a few videos. Take a look at it at one point. They're not going to adopt the SaaS from just those videos.
No,
right?
I would run a full.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a brilliant way to go about it. And that's the type of ways you're going to differentiate yourself, right? If I were to go into it and say, you know what, I want to run Facebook ads for automotive industry and just give them my Facebook ads and launch with the SaaS, I'm going to simply tell them, hey, here's how you got to look at Facebook ads. Here's everything you need. I would throw them a Facebook ads course, right? And my version of it. And that's why they're going to take your SaaS offer versus anybody else, because this is why I recommend niching down. This is why I recommend going sectored into a specialty, because your messaging will get better and better and better, and you resonate with people better, right? So
Absolutely.
awesome. Anything else, Pamela, that I can answer?
I have one more question.
Uh-huh.
I want to help my avatar niche with pre-designed website and funnel templates.
Okay.
So how do I, like, if I go in now and want to build a website, there are some templates there. How do I share more than one? Or I don't want them to have 10 funnels loaded, right? So how would I do that? I'm not even sure what I want to do yet, to be frank with you, but I want to design some templates and things out for them so that they can have it.
Well, in the ideal world, I think maybe a little later on, hopefully we'll get to a world of like a universal marketplace where you guys will all be able to have your own marketplace, right? Where you'll be able to throw in your own templates and your own services and all kinds of stuff, right? So ideally, long run, that would be the solution. But in the short run, I recommend possibly leveraging the membership area to maybe lay around some of those snapshots you have or whatever else. But I don't know if there's any other creative ways. Maybe you can create a funnel with downloadable snapshots and links and stuff like that. Make it a login page so that way everybody just doesn't get access to it, or throw it into a Facebook group or something like that. I don't know if there's any other creative ways to have, hey, here are my 50 templates, right? Your clients, you know, at the end of the day, too many choices is going to hurt them too.
Exactly.
Right? So you got to tread lightly on it.
Okay, well, that membership idea is really great, and the funnels. Thank you so much. I appreciate your time. That's the end of my questions.
For sure. Let's go with, let's see. Let me go in order. Let's go with Miss Silvas. Is it Silvas? Sivas.
Oh, hi. Sorry, it's not actually Kuhila. I'm on her Zoom, but I am. My question, sorry about Paulson, you mentioned earlier about 15 minutes ago, there was a client who was using a newsletter, a SaaS newsletter or something. She had bundled it. Sorry, I didn't quite grasp that, but I thought it was kind of interesting. Can you go over that?
Yeah, so remember I mentioned, you know, leading with marketing as your messaging, right? Like, don't lead with like the feature stack as your solution. So what she did was reach out to a bunch of business owners and say, hey, I can manage your community newsletters every single month. It's $297. Oh, by the way, you can actually text them too if they read it.
Got it. Cool.
Oh, by the way, you can track where they are. Oh, matter of fact, next month, you can send them messages again. I handle all of this for you at $297. You don't even have to log in. But if you log in, you'll be able to handle these conversations and turn them into sales.
Copy that. Thank you.
Right? Which one of your admins should I give access to? Right? It was brilliant. I was like, man, I really think I'm not that creative when I hear stuff like this, because it's just a brilliant way to go about it. So that newsletter idea is really good. Pamela's idea is really good. The funnel method, right? Hey, here's a funnel that you need to build for your business. Here's how you go about it, right? Every one of these industries are going to have their desires and pains, right? And like home services, for example, you want to have a mobile app, right? They really want to have a mobile app. They're working out of their trucks and they want to function off of their phones. They don't want to be in front of the desktop, right? So what you're going to present your SaaS is like, hey, I've got a mobile sales tracker. You can track your sales department on your phone. You don't have to be in the shop anymore, right? That's the angle that you got to go with on marketing.
Yeah, I mean, we've got an association that we're building, so we just want to offer everyone the exact same page, you know, like done for you web page with these two features, eh? On a monthly. That sounds like we could just dupe that, right?
And remember, these are put in the door tactics and methods. Ideally, you're going to right size them once they come in, right? Into professional services or expanded SaaS or whatever else that you want to offer them.
Yeah, cool.
Okay.
Thanks.
Let's go with Vinod. Is it Vinod Subramanian?
Yes, Paul. So thank you so much. First of all, thank you guys. I mean, the entire Go High Level team for putting up such a wonderful platform. So in my case, I work with medical practitioners, especially dental practitioners, and we normally run a VSL funnel. We put together an 18 to 20-minute video funnel, and then we share our unique method, a 3-step framework, and then we get application to enroll clients for our done with you and also done for you services. So that is what we've been doing so far. But to understand, in order to get clients for this SaaS hybrid model, what kind of marketing funnel that I can start running to attract cold audience?
So it's not going to be easy just going straight cold audience, right? It's better to just take your normal agency audience and convert them into SaaS, right? So I don't recommend you going full-fledged on the other side and saying, let's say dental. So you have like Dental Intelligence, you have Open Dental, EagleSoft, Dentrix, all these software companies in that they're already flooded, right? And then you come in out of nowhere, and it's like a third-party CRM. They're not going to value that, right? They're going to want to know whether you can do marketing. But once you get the foot in the door on that intro call, then you can say, oh, you know what? I have a self-serving program. If you want to do this yourself, here's the cost, right? So it's really hard to go upfront in externally and just create a new audience. If you do go down that route, you need to explain it from like you need a new VSL, new branding, just like how you launch your done for you programs, right? And explaining to them, hey, here's how you here's how you reduce costs on marketing, self-managed marketing for $300 a month, right? Like they have to have some sort of messaging that's going to want them to self-manage, right? And that's the downside to it. But that's the way I would go about it, is a whole new brand, basically brand launch.
Okay, so I was thinking of setting up a SaaS landing page and things like that. But yeah, it makes more sense to use our traditional approach, and then during the intro call, we can just introduce them to the SaaS hybrid model.
Yeah, so here's what I also think. When you do create your messaging, right? Like, let's say you set up your own landing page for your SaaS. What are you going to actually say, right? When you really dive deep into it, it's really hard to not talk about the features. I have a hard time myself, and I'm pretty good at simplifying this stuff, right? So for me, if it's hard for me, I think it's going to be hard for a lot of people to simplify it and say, for dental, for example, it's going to be hard for me to be like, hey, doc, here's how I can convert 6 to 7 dental implants this month for you, right? Here's how I can convert, 15 to 20 teeth whitening for you, right? Without talking about texting, without talking about triggers, without talking about landing pages and chat widgets. So if you can find a balance there and resonate and kind of find that message, then yeah, launch a VSL and push them, qualify them for an intro. You still have to do a demo. You would still have to do a demo, because they have to operate it. So it's hard to get away from the demo altogether, but at least the intro call would be more qualified.
Yes. Thank you, Paul.
Let's go with Ronald and then Patrick. Hey, Ronald.
I keep clicking twice. I'm muting. Question about, I know that this high level is catering mostly to a small company to mid-size maybe, but the thing about this, I've been selling CRM solutions and ERP solutions to mid-size to large corporations. And even in the mid-size, they already have an ERP system. They already have a CRM implemented. They spent a lot of time configuring. But I was wondering to see if there is any plans, or if anybody here on the call, or if you have seen, Paulson, anybody that has connected high level with an existing CRM, because the first thing they're going to do is, we already have a CRM, right? Just like you're saying, don't approach with just the features and benefits of a CRM, go with the marketing agency services, that's fine. But the thing about it is, we offer so much more than a regular CRM. The company that I just came from, they have a Salesforce, right? The biggest, the big daddy of the CRMs, but they didn't have any text, two-way text. They didn't have reputation management. They didn't have a bunch of the features that you don't have it on the out of the box high level. But for me to be able to tell them, hey, you're gonna rip out all your Salesforce that you're already paying the top dollars for, and they know that if they want to get those features, they have to have add-ons and third-party software, implementation costs, consulting costs. It becomes very, very expensive. Even the marketing side, Pardot, which is one of these add-ons from Salesforce, is extremely expensive. They charge you per number of subscribers, anyway, what I'm trying to say is that an integration that we can say, hey, so you don't have to take out your existing CRM. We can just integrate, and we're going to start that way. We do the marketing side, we do this text message.
So Ron, as soon as we're almost at the final stages of SaaS development altogether, the next world for us, I personally think, is going to be the integrations world, right? How do we integrate with every single thing on the planet, right? Easy, quick, easy way, right? So I think you guys are going to be in for a treat when it comes to the integrations plans, and I'll probably would let Sean and Robin and those guys talk about it, but we do have plans of being able to integrate with almost anything and everything. So I would give it a quarter at least before we talk about integrations and integrations marketplace and everything. But yeah, we definitely have plans of integrating with everything. And honestly, a lot of agencies already manually integrate with a lot of systems. That's where their skill set is, right? There's hundreds and hundreds of agencies that set up either Zapier or they create custom codes. I mean, I cannot tell you, there is hundreds of agencies that already do that.
Okay, that's good. That's good to know.
Yeah, and in multiple sectors, not just one. Okay, let's go with Patrick. Patrick Lorenzen.
Cool, awesome. Yeah, thank you for the call as well. I just want to shoot off a couple of quick questions.
For sure.
So I've started another software company here in Sweden previously. That's e-signing, totally different thing. We're looking to, I have agency clients today, but we're looking to launch certain features in European markets.
Okay.
And like one specific feature that I'm looking at is basically the chat button to call directly, basically, like leave your number and you would basically make an automatic call through Twilio. Is that something that you can do through High Level today, through the automatic calling setup?
I think there could be a workaround that. But again, I am personally not the tech wizard at High Level. I'm more the business developer. So in my mind, I just think strategy, right? So I think there could be, I do believe there are a few teams that have already put that together. And you're talking about for callbacks, right?
Yeah, so basically the client would go into the website, click the little chat button, and then say, put your number here, we'll call you in 60 seconds kind of thing.
Right,
and
so
then,
what they do is activate a manual call.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, I think there's already a way to do that. What I would do is probably reach out to Chase and see if he knows any agencies that are already running down that use case scenario. And if they're willing to share, maybe he might have some insights to it. but I do think there's already solutions on this.
Yeah, sorry, is Chase on the call or?
Chase Buckner, you'll usually catch him on Wednesdays, and sometimes he does the daily Q&As. But he's the other gentleman that's usually interacting with the community quite a bit, like I am.
Cool.
Okay.
And then just a couple of quick questions, if that's okay. Can I duplicate a setup like easily? So let's say I build out the entire campaign, like everything, like text messages, and I have another client.
That itself, anything you build at once, that whole thing is called a snapshot.
Yeah.
Once you create a snapshot, you can duplicate it and share it and sell it exchange it with anybody else or for your own clients or whatever you want. It's our version of like, hey, here's your base template.
Yeah, awesome. I've heard about Snapshot, but that's good to know what's exactly.
Are you not a user yet? Is that what it is?
I mean, I'm actually looking at taking all my clients from ClickFunnels and
Gotcha.
and like
So you're trying to figure
next
that
week.
out.
Yeah, the renewal is
Well,
like the 17th.
For ClickFunnels, we have a simple importer, so you can
Yeah, I
literally
saw that.
import.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
I saw it. That was pretty cool.
Okay. Yeah.
And then last question is when it comes to Twilio and Mailgun, can I set up like, because I'm thinking like when I have a lot of like, you know, SaaS clients, can I use my Twilio account? Or I understand that's the way it works. Like I use my Twilio account and I use my Mailgun account, and they basically pay me and I have one account for Twilio.
If you want to do rebilling, yes. And we have it built out where you can automatically rebill your clients for Twilio usage, right? So previously you weren't even able to rebill at all. You would have to manually handle that. But now we've made it easy where you can just jump in and just rebill as well if you want to. But yeah, that's already within the platform. You can do that.
I think I saw that for Twilio. Is that the same for Mailgun as well?
Mailgun, we don't have a rebilling program just yet, but we are on the verge of building that out.
Okay.
Yeah,
and then
we are going to get to a world pretty soon where if you guys want to charge for, let's say, 1,000 emails that a business sends, you'll be able to charge now, kind of like Google.
Oh, that's awesome. And then
we'll
maybe
get there. Yeah.
Maybe this question, the last question for Chase. I don't know if you can answer or not, but Stripe, the Stripe integration for the platform. So we work with a lot of clients, obviously outside of the US. Okay. And what we want to do is we have to calculate the taxes. So even if we have US clients, we have to calculate the taxes, and that needs to be automatically.
Okay.
And we do that through something that's called Thrivecart today. And there's a number of other like VAT kind of softwares. I imagine that would be a question for Chase, like how to figure that out, because you can't do it directly in Stripe as of now.
I think we are figuring out a ways to work with PayPal and I believe authorize.net, which is another transactor. So we'll see what the progress is there. But I don't know the answer to the tax side. Like I don't know if there is an automated way to do it versus at the end of the year or quarter or monthly you manually do it. But I would say probably talk to Chase on it, or maybe, maybe not even Chase. I would say post in the community and the discussion board, and then you may get some feedback from other team members as well.
That sounds good. Awesome.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Awesome. Let's see.
If I can help him real quick, answer on that Twilio. On the Twilio rebilling, and something that Sean kept talking about it, and this, when I did it, makes sense. I recently upgraded to the Pro plan on the 23rd or so, and then I went to a client that I set up a couple of years ago, and he was on Slick Text. It was what was around a few years ago, and he was paying about 3 cents per text message. Got to a point that he's sending now 16,000 text messages. He's paying $473 a month. So what I did was I set him up at that low point, that 47 price point, just for him to start engaging, get a lot of these phone calls. What do I did with the and I posted this on the Facebook community group that actually the post is there. He's now actually going to send the same 16,000 text message, but I put in the slider, put that 0.09 cents. So he's going to be able to send 16,000 text message at $144 a month, and I'm only paying $120 to the Twilio rebilling. So this is actually bringing me almost $75 a month on a $47 client plus a $24 text message. So this is going to add to the value that you guys keep talking about. What this is going to be helped, what the service is going to be helped, and that one that clicked for me.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the Twilio rebilling on its own it's crazy. There are some agencies that are doing massive numbers off of that feature alone because they're like, oh, we work with auto dealers and all they do is pound the phones. it's so easy for us to just charge an extra couple of cents here and there. And because they have 200 reps, instead of charging, they're making like a few $1,000s a month off of just the difference, right? So
and the customer doesn't know because they're saving money. You're already saving. I'm already saving this guy $313 a month to him alone.
Yeah. And we have deliverability on our side for sure. It's a better system, right? We know that they're going to get the message at the end of the day, right? So let's go with Ty. Oh, sorry, Patrick, any follow-up to that?
No, I think that's great. Like one follow-up on that is, so the base price, I just have an idea that came to my mind in that. It's like if you have the base price, let's say 49 or 297, would you normally include like X number of texts and calls, or would you rather say, hey, it's 297 plus whatever
in the SaaS configurator, you'll be able to decide how many messages and stuff like that.
Yeah. What would be your recommendation though? Like what would be
that's gonna be so different per industry, right?
Yeah.
Like certain industries, they won't even message more than 50 a month.
Yeah.
Some 50 an hour is like average, right? So it depends on the industry, to be honest.
That makes sense. All right.
Okay.
Thanks.
Let's go with Miss Goodwin's questions, and that'll be it. I have another 4 o'clock, so yeah, we'll go with the last one with Miss Goodwin. How's it going?
It's going pretty well. Thanks for squeezing me in. So for those of us that are the content creators and we're doing a lot of email marketing, those kind of things, is there ever going to be folders in the templates section so that we can create a batch of email templates and deliver them to our clients that way instead of just one massive template block right now?
You know what I would do is set up a meeting with Shivam. Do you know Shivam?
No, not yet.
So Shivam is like one of our senior product managers, and what he does is get a lot of feedback from a lot of the agencies and show them the use case scenario, and then he would figure out what kind of resources we need to do to actually develop that out, and then he'll decide whether he wants to develop that out. So here, let me just give you his direct. Let me see if I can send you a private chat. Speak with us. I would say just set up a meeting with him and show him what you're talking about. I just send it to you on chat, okay?
Yep, I got you.
Send it to me too.
Thank you. That's great.
What was that? Who was that?
It's Marco. Could you send that to me too, please?
Yeah, man. Let's see. Yeah. Okay, guys. So I appreciate all of you being on here. Today was really good. For those of you, if this whole SaaS thing is really new for you, today we got a chance to really layer out this business model, kind of bring together that full picture of what it should look like, how you should launch this into your agency, how you should continue your agency services. We talked about pricing. We talked about the benefits of it, the transitions. We talked about a ton of things to kind of bring a full circle. This coming Wednesday, this coming Wednesday, Chase, I believe Wednesday or Thursday, Chase is going to go through a tech conversation of how to use a configurator, what to look out for, how to set it all up, what not to do, what to do, and then we'll go from there. I appreciate all of you being on here. Thank you again. Have a good rest of your afternoon, okay?